We're going to go ahead and get started with introductions. It's a small enough group. And the prompt for introductions is your name and what brings you here today in about less than 30 seconds or really just one sentence. So I'll go ahead and get started with that. My name is Justin Lindenberg. I'm the Executive Director of Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods, and I'm here to help welcome everyone to their volunteer journey with California State Parks. And I'll go ahead and call on people if that's okay. Kathy?
I'm Kathy Moore, and I'm on the board at Stewards, but I also kind of coordinate the visitor center at Armstrong, but I'm going to talk about the visitor center at Jenner as well. And happy to have everybody here.
Thanks, Kathy. Alice?
Hi, everybody. I'm Alice.
Alex, I'm sorry.
Me? Please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Westlow. I'm one of the park rangers. I work up in Mendocino sector, and I'm here to chat about talking with the public.
Thanks, Alex. Alice?
Hi, everybody. My name is Alice Dong. I'm the program manager at Stewards of Coast and Redwoods.
Thanks, Alice. Lindsay?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lindsay Vulchel. I'm the AmeriCorps VIP member for Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. I came out here in September and I'm loving every minute of being here. And I'm out here to just network and get to know some of our new volunteers.
Thanks, Lindsay. Ken?
My name's Ken Piazza. I'm one of the new volunteers. I wanted to get involved with it because my background, even though I'm retired and I was an IT person for the county of Sonoma, I also worked as a National Park Service ranger and also with the National Marine Fisheries Service as a tuna porpoise observer in South America.
Glad to have you here. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Rich?
Rich Lawton. I'm with Stewards Trail Crew. I coordinate most of that. I'm a retired state park ranger, spent 30 years with state parks.
Thanks for being here, Rich. Mike Roa? You're on mute.
No, I'm not. I'm a retired teacher. I work mostly in Armstrong Redwoods, but a number of other programs. I'm also involved with the training of new docents in Armstrong.
Thanks for being here, Mike. Amelia?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Amelia Shaw Tumova. I'm the Sonoma Mendocino Coast District Volunteer Coordinator with California State Parks.
Thanks, Amelia. John? John Dennis.
Hi, I'm John Dennis. I live in Santa Rosa and I have a vacation home in Jenner. And I'm interested in volunteering. I've been to this training before and there's so much information that I thought I'd do it again.
Awesome. Glad to have you back. David T.
I'm a retired guy from Sebastopol. I have time and some good intentions. So I'm looking forward to seeing what my options are with the state parks.
Happy to have you here, David. Juana Smith.
Hi, I'm Juana Smith. I've recently moved to the area in August, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about what's available since I love the outdoors.
Happy to hear that. Thanks, Juana. Taylor?
Hi, my name's Taylor. I live in Rio Neto, so Armstrong Woods is in my backyard. I have a background in retail and operations, so I think I can bring a lot to the visitor center there. I'm currently working with Land Pass and doing trail restoration work with them as well. But my heart has always been with the state parks, as well as obviously the coast and the redwoods. So I'd like to be a part of, I'm excited about being a part of the state parks system and having a long relationship with you guys.
Thanks for being here, Taylor. Monica?
Good morning, everyone. I actually go by Mo. My name is Monica. I volunteered for years through schools and little leagues and all that sort of stuff. My kids are older and I love the outdoors. So I'm looking forward to maybe a new type of volunteering.
Awesome. Thank you, Mo. Andrew? You're on mute. You might not have access to
There it is. All right.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Andrew Lippett. I heard about this from my grandmother who knows me well. She knows I like to be outdoors. So I just like being out there cutting line, doing trail work, working with chainsaws, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's it. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I've just been starting this process not even a week. So
Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Hey.
Hollis, since she just got back to her computer.
I'm sorry, I'm baking bread here. That beep was my oven. I'm Hollis Bewley. I am also on the board of directors, and I also coordinate the tide pool programs. I've been doing that since 2008. And also our community science programs, pinniped monitoring, and the seabird monitoring program.
Thank you, Hollis. Brenda and Mark.
Hi, Brenda and Mark. I currently actually volunteer with Sonoma County Regional Parks, and we both do a lot of hiking in all of the parks in the area, including Armstrong and Sonoma Coast, and just interested in learning more about the volunteer opportunities there. So very excited to be part of this.
Thanks for joining us. Ashley? Or Daniel Regional Parks?
My name's Daniel. I work for Regional Parks, and I'm looking forward to the opportunities with state parks.
Awesome, Daniel. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
And Kathy C. Kathy, did you want to say hi? It sounds like we might have some connection challenge, but well, you're all in the right place. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. We have a real wealth of volunteer experts that have been with us for cumulatively over 100 years, with some of the folks that are here on our board and that have been volunteer coordinators for various programs. And the intent today is to offer an overview and also answer questions that folks might have so that we can help support you in your journey as a volunteer. So Alice, do you want to pull up the slideshow?
Sure.
Awesome. So just getting started, Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods, we're the nonprofit partner for California State Parks Russian River sector, which includes Armstrong Redwoods State Natural Reserve, Austin Creek State Recreation Area, and Sonoma Coast State Park. Stewards is a small but mighty volunteer-driven nonprofit. We operate Armstrong Redwoods and Austin Creek and provide education, volunteer, and stewardship programs. We help protect lands and waters, educate the public about the importance of our natural and cultural resources, and create memorable visitor experiences. So Alice, can you go to the next slide? We're a state park cooperating association. So pretty much everything we do is in support of state parks. As a cooperating association, we do interpretive programming, help guide people through their understanding of the natural environment. We also have a unique relationship in Armstrong Woods and Austin Creek that we're an operator. We operate visitor services in the front of Armstrong Redwoods, as well as the campground and other resources in Austin Creek. We have a few board members with us today. Right now, our board is at 9 members. We are recruiting board members. That's sort of the super volunteering capacity, should you be so interested. We have a great staff, a terrific number of financial supporters, members that donate $25 and above, a huge volunteer corps. You know, you could spend every day with us if you like, doing various things, but we really want to feed and cultivate your passion and support for our parks. So I think, Alice, I will hand it off to you for the volunteer programs in our parks.
Okay, so our next slide is about the Volunteers in Parks program, which I'm going to hand over to Amelia.
Hi, thank you. I'm going to share my screen as well. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Volunteers in Parks program, which is a statewide program with California State Parks. Going to the Stewards website, which is stewardscr.org, and then to the volunteer tab. And if you go down to volunteer resources and scroll down just a little bit, there's a volunteer handbook under number 2 here with a ton of great information. We've recently updated it. And I'm going to start with the mission of California State Parks, which is to provide for the health, inspiration, and education of the people of California by helping to preserve the state's extraordinary biological diversity, protecting its most valued natural and cultural resources, and creating opportunities for high-quality outdoor recreation. Volunteers are vital to fulfilling the mission of California State Parks. The first volunteers served over 100 years ago. Today, the Volunteers in Parks program has grown to over 40,000 volunteers who donated around 1,138,000 hours in 2019. Volunteers assist staff in countless ways in nearly all of California's state parks. For more than a century, volunteers have preserved the most treasured places and taught the public about their value. Volunteers interpret state parks resources, keep trails in good repair, spearhead special events, and offer a welcoming face in campgrounds and visitor centers. That's all I have for right now.
Oh, thank you, Amelia. So
Yeah.
I'm going to share my slides. Okay, so we have a variety of volunteer opportunities in our parks, and currently we have 12 volunteer programs in total. So there are 4 volunteer programs at Armstrong Redwoods. So there is a list, and it includes visitor center, docents, roving docents, trail crew, and pump farm pottery. So we have a list on our stewards website. So if you want to check the official website on the California State Parks, here is also a website to go to. Yeah, here you go. If you can see the screen right now, this is the California Department of Parks and Recreation. If you go to this website and search Armstrong Redwoods, you can see a full list of all of the current volunteer programs. So let's go back. And next page is a list of all of the volunteer programs at Sonoma Coast State Park. So we have a variety of them, and feel free to check out our website. And if you want to go to the California State Parks website, you can also get all of this list. And then I'm going to hand over to Alex. Going to stop share and make Alex as the co-host so he can share his slide.
Okay.
Hi, Alice. This is Rachel. Sorry to interrupt you guys. I've got a couple of volunteers here at the back office. We're working on getting them hooked up onto Zoom.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Rachel. Is there, do we know who's there? Can you? I'm gonna text you,
Stacy
Rachel.
Turella. We have Stacy Turella and
Eugene Belagorsky.
Eugene Belagorsky.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you so much. I do apologize for the difficulty. I'm so sorry. I thought we would have someone in the office, so I'm very sorry, you guys.
Okay, we're getting connected.
So sorry. No, that's.
All right, we all good? Ready for me to go?
Yeah, thanks so.
Okay, awesome. Hi guys, I said earlier, I'm Alex Westlow. I'm one of the park rangers. I do work with Mendocino sector, which is the next sector north from Russian River. My topic today is speaking with the public. So this is really aimed at if you're a roving docent, you run into someone and they're breaking or bending the rules a little bit, and ways you can chat with them to try to keep the interaction nice and mellow. So first off, just making first contact. So whenever you talk to someone, your goal should be to have a warm greeting and to introduce yourself. So there's a variety of ways you can do this. I've listed a few options. One is, hello, my name is Alex. How are you today? You could say, I'm a volunteer with State Parks and my name is Alex. Can I answer any questions? Or if they're looking at something, you can introduce yourself and then ask them if they have any questions about what they're looking at. The goal of this is that you're engaging with them in a friendly manner and you're asking them a question to have them talk to you back instead of starting out with, hey, I see you have a dog. You're not allowed to have a dog, right? Our goal is to get them to start a conversation with you.
Alex, excuse me for interrupting.
Yes.
But 2 housekeeping things. If people are rapidly scribbling this stuff down, is this available to them somewhere so they don't have to worry about taking notes? And secondly, if people have questions, I think this goes for the whole thing today, should people interrupt or raise their hands or wait till the end of people's presentations? So first of all, is this information that you're sharing available afterwards?
I've shared it with Alice already. If anyone needs it, you can either ask Alice for it or you can email me. I gave your board has my email and I'm happy to hand it out to whoever wants it. And if you have any urgent questions, you can ask them during the slides, or I have a section for questions at the end as well.
And may I chime in too? Sorry. We do have a 1-pager of all of this information that Alex is presenting right now that I can share too.
All right. So your main focus as a volunteer with State Parks is education, right? So when you're chatting with someone, the goal is to educate the public about what the state park is there for, whether or not it's biodiversity, how is it protected. So we have different levels of protection in state parks. There's natural preserves, which are the highest protection. Pretty much you can just walk in a preserve. There's parks, state parks and beaches, which usually have a wide variety of allowed activities, depending where they are: cycling, horse riding, camping, dog walking on paved areas. And then there's areas like recreation areas, which are the off-highway vehicles. For you guys, it's mainly going to be state parks or reserves. So when you're chatting with the public, you want to tell them why it is protected. So if you're in Redwood Park, you may be talking about the marble murrelets and how they're an endangered species. And our goal is to help bring the numbers back up. So we don't want to have dogs on the trail. If you're out on the beach, it could be something about snowy plovers, or it could be about the pinnipeds and how dog interactions with seals isn't healthy for them and can have them expend more energy than they'd otherwise need. And then you always want to provide someone with an option. So you've told them why it's protected, and then you want to give them an option where they can go. If they have a dog, maybe you're going to say like, hey, you can take your dog out on this campground loop or walk them on this beach section south of here or north of here. Another example might be kite flying. If they're in a snowy plover area, you can give them a list. It always helps to give someone an option of where they can go so they don't feel like you're just taking something away from them. When we speak with people, we want to think of how we're phrasing items. So a very important thing to think about is if you're talking to someone and you're always saying, you are bringing your dog here, you're riding your bike on this trail, you're taking that flower, it's very confrontational. It is immediately going to set them on their back foot and they're going to want to defend themselves. Instead, we want to say things like, I noticed you have a dog. I see you've grabbed a branch here. Our woods are protected. Something like, my understanding is that it's a little slight difference, but can help keep the interaction going in a good way. One of the books that I really enjoyed is Verbal Judo, The Gentle Art of Persuasion. It's set from perspective from a sheriff deputy back about 20, 30 years ago, but he goes over interactions and phrases he's noticed that have tend to get rises out of people. So it's things we definitely don't ever want to say are, come here, you wouldn't understand because those are the rules, calm down, I'm doing this for your own good, or why don't you be reasonable? I'm sure we've all been in situations when someone told you to calm down, and I'm sure it totally worked. So once again, we want to think about our phrasing, and we want to focus on not using any of those phrases I listed. If you're interested in more, you guys can read Verbal Judo. He talks about how to chat with people a little bit. And next up is tone. So not just what you say is important, but how you say it. If you say something like, I noticed you have a dog here versus I noticed you have a dog here, it's very different. And the way you take it and feel when someone tells that is going to interact how you feel about the whole interaction. So we want to try to keep our tone in an uplifting manner, polite but firm, but we don't want to be going into that aggravation state. I'm sure we all have experiences where someone was telling something totally reasonable. It made a lot of sense, but the way they said it just puts you on edge. You're like, why'd they say it that way? If they'd just been a little nicer about it, I would have totally understood. So when you guys are interacting with the public, you want to try to stay on that nicer side. And I know it can be difficult sometimes, but you go do your best. Next, it's really important to know when to back off. You know, our volunteers are a great aspect of state parks. We really appreciate all the help you guys do, but it's important that you guys remember you're there to help the public and educate them. So you're just helping people understand what the rules are. You're not there to enforce it. My job is to enforce it, right? I'm specifically trained and I go through 9 months of academy, 3 months of field training to be prepared to deal with people and have different enforcement options. You guys don't have that and you don't do it. We don't want you guys enforcing the rules. We want you there to educate them. If someone is giving you pushback, just take a step back. Don't take it personally. You're there having a bad day. Just walk away. Your safety and well-being is paramount to us. We want you guys to be volunteers with us and have a good time. So just keep that in mind. You guys are there to educate, not enforce. That being said, if you guys need someone to come out and enforce and it's an egregious violation, you can call our dispatch center, which is NORCOM. The number will be provided to you guys through your volunteer association. What they're going to ask you when you call them is what your name is, your location, what the violation is, and your phone number. When you get all the information, it'll get shared to the rangers that are working. And then the rangers will prioritize calls and they'll try to call you back to get in contact with you, figure out what's going on, where it is, try to show up on scene. Obviously, we have a lot of different calls that go on, so we can't always guarantee we'll be able to show up for everything. We always try to make our presence known and to come up and see things that are violations and come deal with them if it's needed. Has anyone had any questions that have come up? No? Well, thank you guys very much. If you guys have any questions, you're feel free to email me at any time. You can email me. It's alex.westlow@parks.ca.gov or reach out to your board of directors. Kathy, did you have a question?
I just wanted to add that I think some of these things also apply not only to if you're on the trail and you run into someone. We had a lot of situations in the visitor centers as well. And I don't always escalate straight to the ranger. Sometimes I try and call back to the office or call the people at the kiosk for, you know, Scotty or Rachel. You know, sometimes they're more helpful as well. It's more of an interim step. So just adding that to your talk.
Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you for being here, Alex.
Of course. All right. Well, as I said, if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to my email or through your board of directors. I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Alex. So our next slide is about the visitor center.
Okay.
So I'm going to hand over to Kathy.
Yes. Hi. So I'm Kathy Moore and I coordinate the Armstrong Visitor Center, but I know a lot about the Jenner as well. So it's a pretty straightforward task that we do. People come in and out all day long asking lots of questions. And I think the question we get most at Armstrong is, you know, I'm here to see the redwoods, what trails should I take? And we pretty much have our standard, you know, go through the triangle kind of Armstrong to see all the redwoods and what's the oldest tree, what's the tallest tree. And we have all that information written down for you, and you can learn it. And it's a great experience because you're meeting people really from all around the world who come to visit Armstrong. It's amazing when you see the people who visit and where they're from, and it's just a lot of fun too. And hello?
Jackie Moore.
Oh, so my phone is going. Let me just turn that off. But so it's a lot of fun to do. You meet a lot of people. The good thing about it for me, I find, is that it's you're also indoors, and it's just a good experience. So they're in shifts that we work. So it's mostly 3-hour shifts at Armstrong. I think it's longer or shorter out of Jenner. There are fewer people out there. And you can do once a month, you can do once a week, you can do once in a while. And to train, it just takes coming and shadowing until you feel comfortable. And I would say people, the concern people mostly have is the register. And if they've never worked any kind of retail, they have concerns. And I'd say we train you on that. And it's pretty straightforward, and everything does the math for you. So it's pretty easy. So as I said, Jenner is a wonderful environment to sit at if you live close to there. But if you're interested at all in the visitor centers works, it's pretty consistent. It kind of feels good. It gets you at the parks. And the nice part about it is on cold and rainy days and hot days, you're indoors, which is nice. But you can still go out, and I tend to take a walk around the park while I'm there. And any questions you might have, let me know, or just maybe come shadow someone and learn what we do. And as I said, it's a great, fun way to be around and be involved. It's pretty straightforward and fun. That's the best way to put it. And there's the Jenner Visitor Center, which is located in an absolutely gorgeous place. And if you live out on the coast area or closer to there, I would definitely recommend you try going out there for a couple of shifts. It's fun.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, these are our intro about our Armstrong Visitor Center and Jenner Visitor Center. So the next slide is about our docent and the community education program. So I'm going to hand over to Mike.
Hello, everybody. I'll be talking about a couple of programs today. The community education program is about a number of different events that we offer to the community. Mostly, it's a variety of different tours and hikes and walks that we do. A mushroom walk, for example. Was there a mushroom walk just a day or two ago, Alice?
Yes, yesterday.
Yeah, it had to be postponed because of rains and such, but they were able to reschedule it, and these are very popular. They're advertised in the newsletter and elsewhere. And so there's a lot of different community education programs. We also train our docents. We don't just toss you out there and say, go for it. We do some workshops, and you're welcome to shadow as many tours as you like. I encourage docents to do that because every docent has a different style. And you may find one that's more comfortable. You will find one that's more comfortable for you than somebody else's style. So anyway, let's see the next slide there. So mostly I work as a docent, which means mostly what I do is lead tours. We've got a variety of people that lead tours. Often it's with kids, but often it's also with the public. Kids are all the way from pre-kindergarten and kindergarten on up through high school. Mostly they're elementary from say 1st grade through 6th grade. And they're just a joy to work with. Now, some people are not that comfortable with young kids, and so they prefer to work with the adults. We also have a lot of different adult tours. Sometimes it's a family or a couple. Sometimes it's a group. A couple of weeks ago, we had about 100 people. They're in the Navy War College program and their spouses. I've had tours for groups of people from China and Japan. I've had the U.S. speed skating team. They had trouble keeping up with me, of course. So there are all different kinds of groups of people you get to work with, and it's very, very interesting. If you're interested in working with kids, you can volunteer. That's something I should emphasize, that The way we do it is Alice posts what tours are coming up, and then you get to choose. If you don't want to work with adults, you can work with kids. If you want to work with fifth graders, but not fifth graders, you can make that choice. But again, we do train you and you have lots of opportunities to shadow. We also have a variety of written resources for you to use, both in your training and also other resources for you to use while on the trail. I think that's it for that slide. There's also a program called roving docents. These are people that go out on the trails, either at Armstrong Redwoods or even at the coast or in Austin Creek Recreation Area, which is adjacent to Armstrong. I sometimes rove at Armstrong, and basically I walk around and somebody's looking at a tree or looking like they're lost or looking at their map. I just offer to answer whatever questions they have. When Austin Creek is open, we'll have people going back into the campgrounds and on the trails there on bikes sometimes, or even on horses, to just make sure everything is okay. And then along the coast, same thing, largely is to protect both the people and the resources there. So roving docents, a lot of people like to do the roving docents because they're not dealing with dozens of people. They have a lot of freedom to go where they want, when they want. And it's one way to kind of ease into being a tour leading docent. All right, I see it. There are questions. I'll take a look at the chat box in a moment. I can see some people's hands or faces. So if you have a question, interrupt and just let me know. Watershed Education Program is held out at Pomo Canyon. It's a group reservation. The school will come out, will bring their kids. We have a number of different stations where they learn about the organisms in the water and the ecology of the area and the geology and erosion and that sort of thing, salmon. And again, in this case, you're working with a team of people. You're not just out on the trail by yourself with the group. You're working with a group of 2 or 3 or 4 other people to present a program for which school groups have signed up. And again, we train you to do this. I think that's all I have.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mike. So our next slide is about the tide pool education and the roving. So I'm going to hand over to Hollis.
Hollis, you're on mute.
Thank you. I have my contact information at the bottom of each of these slides. So if anybody's interested in any of these programs, please feel free to contact me directly and I can answer questions or give you further information. The Tide Pool Education Program is, it's normally in the springtime. It's on low tide weekday mornings, generally between 9 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we lead classrooms into the intertidal. You don't need to have a lot of experience in this respect. We do have training. You do shadow experienced docents. And we do have field guides. And so if somebody asks you what something is, you're also experiencing the joy of thumbing through a field guide to discover what's there. And you usually run across something else of interest while you're there. So you're really teaching children how to fish rather than just giving them fish in that respect. Our tide pool calendar is just about full for this spring. I think we have 13 or 14 field trips scheduled already. And that runs from March into June so far. We also have a roving docent program that Mike was talking about. The rovers are active usually on low tide weekends, but it can be weekdays too. It's usually about a 2-hour shift. You choose a beach. You can work by yourself or with a partner. And as with tide pool education, you don't need a lot of experience in order to do this. Our primary concern is making sure that both the children of the classrooms and also adult park visitors are aware of ocean safety so that they're exploring these areas with their own safety in mind. And also tide pool etiquette, which is making sure that we are causing as little damage to the environment and taking care of the well-being of these animals as well. Next slide, please. Yet another way that you can participate in our tide pool program is with the touch table. And the Bodega Marine Lab built a touch table for us. One docent picks up, this usually happens with special events or other kinds of affairs. It's a way of bringing the tide pools to park visitors or children without the necessity of having a low tide. Nobody has to get wet. And one of our docents will go to the Bodega Marine Lab, will pick up 25 gallons of cold seawater and pick out animals and algae to bring to the touch table. Meanwhile, somebody else is setting up the table, setting up the pump and the cooler. And it's a really, really fun way to interact with the public and with the animals. So again, if you're interested in this program, my contact information is at the bottom of the screen as well. Pinniped monitoring. We have some community science programs, one of which is Pinniped monitoring. We're under contract with Sonoma Water. And this is 2 shifts per month. Generally, you can pick a start time. It's 4 hours. You can pick a start time anytime between 8:30 and 12. And we're at an overlook on Highway 1, looking down on the mouth of the river. And we are counting the harbor seals, the harbor seal colony down there. We also have special shifts when the sandbar closes, the mouth of the river. Sonoma Water will do a mechanical breach. And so we monitor the pinnipeds the day before the breach and the day after the breach. I forgot to mention our orientation and training for both tide pool and pinniped monitoring. We have a training it's a Zoom training on February 23rd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on pinniped monitoring, followed by a site visit, the date to be determined. For tide pool, we have an orientation. It's a Zoom orientation on February 18th from 9 to 11 in the morning, followed by a site visit at Campbell Cove from 1 to 3 p.m. This is an opportunity to meet the other docents and meet the veterans and have fun at the same time. So next slide, please. We also have a seabird monitoring program, and we monitor 3 different breeding sites between Bodega Head and Jenner. Monitoring takes place on weekdays. Bodega Head, right off of Bodega Head, we do that on Thursday mornings. On the Bodega Rock, which is out in the middle of Bodega Bay and has a brand new common mer colony, as well as Brandt's cormorants, and that rock is shared by a large colony of sea lions, both California and the big boys, the Steller sea lions. That's on Monday afternoons, and on Friday mornings, we monitor the common mer colony at Gull Rock, which is right off of Peaked Hill on the Cordham Trail, on the north end of the Cordham Trail. And again, you don't have to know a lot about seabirds. We have a limited number of species, and we have some wonderful experienced mentors that you'll be working with. And so it's a wonderful learning experience for all of us. We have been able to observe and document a lot of interesting interactions between species. Almost each of our sites is shared by a pair of peregrine falcons, which can make a ship rather exciting. And of course, those that are off of Bodega Head, we often see whales, we see dolphins, and porpoising sea lions. So it's a really wonderful way to spend a couple of hours of your day. We have a Zoom training orientation on March 2nd And that runs from 6 o'clock to 7:30 p.m., followed by a site visit on the east parking lot of Bodega Head on March 30th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And like the site visit for Tidepool, this is a really nice opportunity to meet our other seabird monitors and get to know them and ask questions and see the site themselves. I think that's, oh, one other thing. We have a orientation for all of our coastal volunteers. And this is, again, it's virtual, it's via Zoom. And it runs from about 9:30 to 2:30 on Saturday, March 4th. And this is a really nice way to get familiar with other agencies, partnering agencies that protect our natural resources. We are, one of our presenters is the director of the Bodega Marine Reserve, and she'll be talking about what they do and what the Bodega Marine Lab does, as well as the MPA collaboratives. Paul Hubby from the Seabird Protection Network will be talking about the Greater Farallones Marine Sanctuary. And Phil Warren will be talking about the Marine Mammal Center and how and when to report alive stranded marine mammals. So this is always kind of a fun day. You can come and go as you please, but I really encourage you, if you're doing any volunteering on the coast, to take advantage of this orientation as well.
Yeah, thank you, Hollis. So our next program is Whale Watch. So I'm going to hand over to Norma.
Good morning, everyone. I thought I would start out by just letting you know what I look like when I'm up on the head. You can look for my hat with all my whale pins and my mask with all my whales. And behind me is Bodega Head. And if I weren't so technically challenged, I'd flip it so that it was in the right direction. But you get the drift. That's where we do Whale Watch. And Whale Watch is the second volunteer program created under the auspices of Stewards. And of course, the first was Seal Watch, which came about when there was a major sewer spill into the Russian River. And I'm wearing a vintage shirt, Whale Watch shirt, with a picture of the whales. Well, anyway, you get it. The shirt says Stewards of Slavianka, which is the precedent name to Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. So we do Whale Watch at Bodega Head on the weekends from January to May from 10 to 2, weather permitting. And there are a number of weekend coordinators, Jeff Goldman, Colleen and Richard Draffen, and Richard Ships, in addition to myself. And we are out there, we have vests on that say Whale Watch, and it's a great, vest is a great opportunity to start an interaction with somebody, to say, well, it's Whale Watch, but not whale see. There are no guarantees, but we're here to help people look for the blows of the gray whales as they migrate past Bodega Head. It's a really great vantage point. We also set up an interpretive display. We have a table with whale bones, with whale lice, with whale barnacles, lots of pictures for the youngsters who might not be able to see the whales so well. And we also have a fact card that's on our site. Again, it's all backwards, but anyway, the whale card is something that the docents will have available to refresh their memory or to help them as they're shadowing with a veteran if they're new. And we also offer it to visitors who might be interested in a takeaway. So we're there to interpret the Pacific gray whale migration, to talk about the gray whale population, to talk about the facts of this particular whale, which comes very close on the northbound migration. On the southbound migration, which we're in the midst of right now, they're further out on the horizon using a different path of travel. But generally, we're looking for blows. And on the northbound migration, when they're closer, we can also see their backs. So I also invite you to look on the website at some videos from past orientations and trainings where I go into much more detail about the migration. And again, if you are interested in volunteering and you haven't been able to actually go to an in-person or a video, you'll see the videos will help you, but always there are many veterans there who you can buddy up with and shadow until you feel more comfortable being on your own and talking to, as someone said about the visitor centers, the same thing applies at the head. We have thousands of people who come through, I'm not exaggerating, and they're from all over the world. Some don't even know that the opportunity presents itself to see whales from that vantage point. Some come specifically for that. There's also great trails and other opportunities out there, seabirds, wildflowers, and other marine mammals. So I hope you'll be interested enough to come and check out the Whale Watch site at Bodega Head. I look forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you, Norma. So next slide is about the Seal Watch. So our coordinator Heather seems not here today, so I'm going to hand over to Hollis.
Okay, so the Seal Watch program begins in March and it runs through Labor Day. And there are 3-hour shifts on both Saturdays and Sundays and holidays, both at Goat Rock Beach and also at a new site we're going to try this year is the Jenner Boat Launch. And your job is to educate the public about the Harbor Seal Colony. It's especially important during the months of March and April and going into May when they're birthing. And there are young pups that are easily disturbed. And so the public is allowed to view from a distance so that the animals are comfortable with their presence. There are scopes available. There are binoculars available. And it's just a really, really nice way to spend a morning or an afternoon. I remember several years ago, I was fortunate enough to witness 2 births within about a month of each other. And I was I wasn't on the beach itself. I was on a trail up above, and it's a really, really exciting thing to watch. It happens very, very quickly, and it's really quite heartwarming. The training takes place on the first one is September 11th, and that's a Zoom training. And the second one is a site training at Goat Rock Beach, and that is on February 25th. It's a really good training schedule. Dr. Sarah Allen will be talking about the natural history of the harbor seal. You will be working on the art of interpretation with David Berman, who has been doing environmental education for 30 years, and he's also a member of our board. And it's a very good training, and so I encourage you to take advantage of it. So this is a program that is kind of being redesigned and revitalized right now, and it's kind of your opportunity to participate in this as well. So I hope you're interested in Seal Watch.
Thank you, Hollis, very much. So our next slide. Okay.
It sounded like she said September for the Seal Watch training. I believe. Sorry.
February 11th.
February 11th.
And February 25th.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, the program runs into December, into Labor Day.
Oh, sorry.
The season does.
Thank you, Hala.
Okay. Mhm. Thank you, Amelia. So our next program is the Trail Crew. So I'm going to make Rich a co-host so Rich can share his slides. Let me see.
Okay, somehow it's saying I'm disabled.
Oh yeah, I'm sharing it with you. I'm looking for your name, so your name just flips through here. Please wait for a second. See. Okay. Yeah, Rich, now you're the co-host, so you can share your
Okay.
screen.
All right.
Yeah, if you can click on the top, on the left corner, there's a Trail Crew slide. You can click that.
All right, I'm not seeing it. Technically challenged.
Shows,
I'll
Rich, on
skip
my
that.
screen, it's way in the upper left.
Yeah. On the top, there is a yellow icon. Yeah. That's right.
All right, we got it.
Yeah, we got it.
All right, I'll try and get started. Stewart's Trail Crew, it's just a bunch of people of all ages working together to keep our parks open and safe. But we even have our own mascot, believe it or not. We normally work on Wednesdays to avoid impacting the crowded weekend traffic. We do have weekend of work available at Armstrong and Austin Creek. Where do we work? Well, we rotate between Armstrong, Austin Creek, Sonoma Coast, and Willow Creek Watershed. We'll do everything from digging ditches to building bridges and everything in between. We don't just clear the trails. We have tree obstruction removal. Some of it's easy, some not so easy. You might find us out weed whacking the trails, building woodsheds, splitting wood. Some the easy way and some the old fashioned way. You might find us repairing seating in some of the campfire centers, possibly building cable steps down to the beach. Sometimes we have toys to play with. Sometimes it's all handwork. We work rain or shine. So what's holding you back from joining in the fun? And with that, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you, Rich. Okay, so this is our slides of Trail Crew, and then let's go to the next page. Then next page is about the Pond Farm docent tours. So I'm going to hand over to Justin.
Yeah, hi everyone. Pond Farm Pottery, it is on the National Register of Historic Places. It's been nominated as a National Historic Landmark due to it being the home and workshop of Marguerite Wildenhain. She fled during World War II with other Jewish artists to an intentional community that is just about a quarter of a mile up the hill into Austin Creek, right at the back of Armstrong Redwood State Natural Reserve. We do a number of programs at Pond Farm. We do an artist in residence program out of the guest house. This is something designed by Albert Lanier, who is Ruth Asawa. She's a prominent sculptor in the Bay Area. You can see a lot of her sculpture work. And then we do docent-led tours of the property itself. And we share about the legacy of Marguerite, her influence on the studio pottery movement in America, as well as sort of the Bauhaus thinking and principles that she brought to her students when she came over here and trained a generation of potters. So the way to get involved with Pond Farm docent-led tours is come on one. We're actually also doing a docent training April the 3rd Saturday in April. That'll be on our website soon, and we'll be doing docent-led tours every 3rd Saturday, May through October. So we invite you to join us. It's an important historical space, and it's a cultural resource that is a real special treasure to have just above the redwoods.
Thank you, Justin. So our next slide is about the special events. So we as stewards sometimes have a fish festival, bodega festival, and the pomo dance when we have those special events, and we also post our request for volunteers. If you want to join us just for a couple hours, we are also welcome your participation. Then the next slide is about the volunteer recognition. So Justin, do you want to talk about it?
Sure. There's different levels of volunteer recognition. Sort of our signature event is our annual volunteer celebration that happens at the end of the year. Everyone gets together, has good food, refreshments are provided. In addition to that, we do ongoing volunteer recognition. As an example, trail crew will have a potluck. The Armstrong docents will host a meeting in the office. And then formally, Amelia will correct me on this, but I believe it's once you reach different milestones with volunteer hours, you earn different things. Like we started a new thing this year so that when volunteers hit 10 hours of volunteer service, they'll automatically get subscribed to Bay Nature. When you hit 48 hours of volunteer service, you receive a district pass. When you hit 75 hours of volunteer service, you'll receive an item of clothing that's branded Stewards Volunteer. And then is it 120, 200 hours for a state level pass?
Yeah, 200. And
200.
the district and statewide passes are mailed out for the following year at the end of the year. So.
Yeah, good, important reminder.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Okay, and yeah, there are a couple of ways that you can help, like become a member, become a volunteer, and join our special events, and also join the board, and also sign up our e-newsletters. So we share e-newsletters every 2 weeks. And then I assume I need to hand over to Amelia.
And I wanted to just take the opportunity to pause for just a second, since we've just concluded a real great overview from talented folks that lead volunteer programs, to see if any of the new people joining us today have any questions about any of these programs. Next up, we're going to dive into some of the paperwork and requirements. So this is a good time to pause and see if folks have questions.
Sounds good. Yeah. Also stretch.
Do some breathing. Any questions from anybody in the group, or anything that you want to learn a little bit more about? John?
Yeah, I just want to clarify. So if you're interested in one of these, or more than one of these opportunities, who is the person to contact? To go to the website and look for the contact, or the person who spoke today?
We're going to follow up this training with an email that goes out to everyone here, and it's going to include the programs and then the people associated with them, all their email addresses and contact info, so that people can get connected with one another.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm here to help with the onboarding process, and my colleague Lindsay at Stewards is also here to help with any onboarding questions. And I'm going to go through the process of signing up in just a minute.
John, I put my email in the chat box.
Thanks, Mike.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I've got one, real quick question regarding, I presume the way it sounds, you can be a volunteer for multiple, disciplines. Because like mine, I've started out with the pinniped monitoring, but it doesn't sound like that's gonna go all year long. So the roving sounds interesting, you know, if you're doing Shell Beach or that general area.
Yeah, absolutely. We really invite that. A lot of people do that. And really, you know, one of the best ways to get started is shadowing. And when we send that email out that has contact info for all the point people for the programs, one of the, you know, the easiest things you can do is just get set up and shadow someone. And if you're interested in tide pulling, now is the time.
Okay.
Justin, can I say something about that?
Of course.
Hi, Ken. It's nice to see you face to face. We've
I
been
know,
communicating through an
finally.
email. Yeah. I just wanted to mention that back in the day in 2008, I attended an orientation much like this because I was still working full time at the time, and I was interested in being a roving tide pool docent. So I attended for that reason. And then I thought, well, I'm having difficulty taking vacation days, and it would be fun to lead classroom field trips into the tide pools. So the tide pool roving also expanded to tide pool education. And then I thought, oh, the Jenner Visitor Center sounds cool. I like to be out on the coast on the weekends. I could do that, you know, 1 or 2 weekends a month. And so I wound up signing up for 3 programs when my intent was 1. So by all means, you know, if more than one thing interests you, as you know, Pinniped monitoring runs from March through October, and it's only twice a month, but there's certainly other activities that you can do during that time or throughout the rest of the year. So by all means, you know, shadow to see what you're interested in, or if there's anything else that sounds good, go for it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No, and I'll add, everybody should sign up for special events because they're fun. You know, so
Yeah,
when we
they
do
are.
Old Grove and that kind of stuff, you know, working those are a really good time.
All right. Amelia, do we want to go carry on with the paperwork unless anyone else has any additional questions? And I know, Hollis, you have to run. Thank you for.
I have to run.
Happy
Thank you so much for attending, everybody.
And I'm
Thank you.
thank
Bye.
you all the presenters. I'm going to share my screen again. And first off, I'm going to go back to the volunteer handbook just for a quick run through of expectations concerning volunteer conduct. As a volunteer, you are expected to conduct yourself in a manner that reflects pride in yourself and in the state park system and adheres to a standard of conduct. And following here in the volunteer handbook is some bullet points as reminders of what we are expecting. Respect the cultural and ethnic diversity of California and ensure the park is free of all harassment and discrimination. Do not discuss confidential information with members of the public. Do not speak to the media on behalf of California state parks without specific authorization. Be dependable and on time for your assigned shift. Follow all park rules and regulations and all laws. Treat duties and assignments seriously. Refuse any offers of work-related gratuities, gifts, or favors. Never keep lost and found items. Do not use or attempt to use for private gain or advantage any department, symbol, etc. Demonstrate and encourage safety awareness and practices. Keep accurate records of your volunteer hours, which I'll go over in a moment. Do not smoke in any state buildings, state vehicles, or outdoors in accordance with state law. Do not report to duty while under the influence of intoxicants or illegal drugs, and do not take alcoholic beverages during your volunteer shifts. If you are on legal medication that influences your ability to fulfill your assignment, please notify us. Public service is the volunteer's highest priority. Please serve the public in a fair and impartial manner. Avoid any activities that distract you from providing service while you are volunteering. Do not recommend to the public any specific local businesses. Do not express, display, broadcast, distribute, or otherwise communicate to the public any personal beliefs, opinions, messages, or points of view while you are in the capacity of a California State Parks volunteer. And if you witness a violation of park rules, like Alex said, contact and caution park visitors by providing information only. You do not have state park peace officer status or authority. And then maintain open and honest relationships and develop trust with department employees, other park volunteers, concessionaires, and park visitors. Present a positive attitude and have the ability to rise above personal disagreements. Be sincere in your offer of volunteer service to others, and be a key player on the park team, as well as set a high standard for personal grooming and appearance. And I showed you where this volunteer handbook can be found to read more into all this, but that's all I'm going to say about that for now. And next I'm going to go on to paperwork. So going back to the Stewards website, back to the volunteer tab. If you go to volunteer opportunities, this first tab, and scroll down, there's a new volunteer onboarding packet. And this first page will show all of the steps to onboarding as a California State Parks volunteer in partnership with Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. So sign up for the newsletter, contact Stewards for a brief phone call to discuss interests. And then the paperwork. The duty statement is in a separate place from the main paperwork, which is on the following pages here. And I will show you that in a moment. And ultimately, all the paperwork comes to me. This is my email address and my physical address. Attend a new volunteer orientation, which is happening now. There's I call it the database, the volunteer portal that California State Parks uses to keep track of volunteer time. I will go over that in a moment as well. And there is a bear in mind training that is required for all long-term volunteers. It's actually every 2 years, like employees, you have to redo it. There's an e-learning module here if you click this link. And then upcoming events and programs, there's a link to see those, and volunteer resources on the Stewards website. Also noted here at the bottom, we are glad to offer support to help you sign the paperwork digitally. So please reach out if you're having trouble, if you don't have a printer or need help. So continuing, the next page is the volunteer application, where you can say a little bit more about your interests and if you've volunteered before. And then this page is just so that you can pre-fill the following pages. Just for example, I type in my name so you can see that's the purpose of this page. It pre-fills here on the next pages. This is the volunteer service agreement. It's also referred to as the 208. It's the most important form of the paperwork packet. This is outlining the agreement between us, and the volunteer duty statement must be attached. Here in the middle, it goes over exactly what this entails. As a long-term volunteer, you may be covered under the department's workers' comp coverage. Should something happen while you're performing the duties listed on the duty statement, and also tort liability if an accident happens to a visitor. And you can sign it here and list emergency contact information here at the bottom. The back page of that is for me, so you can just skip it. This form is optional if you would like to pre-designate a personal physician should you be injured while you're performing your volunteer duties. And then the Essential Functions Health Questionnaire is recently no longer needed, so don't worry about that one. We'll get it taken out of the packet soon. So these 2 pages you do not have to complete anymore. And the visual media consent is optional. If you don't mind the California State Parks using your picture in media, such as annual reports or any kind of media. And then lastly, the duty statement. So if you go back up to the first page of the onboarding packet, there's a link here. Complete a duty statement for the program you wish to volunteer for. If you click that link to the volunteer forms page, all of the duty statements are listed here for all of the different programs. So if you just click one, it shows you the duty statement that you can also include with the packet, and it requires a signature as well. Okay. Then the next step is to sign up on the database. But maybe I'll take a pause real quick. Everybody still with me?
Oh.
I know it's a lot.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm a volunteer at Annandale, though I haven't done anything there in at least a couple of years because things, of course, had changed with COVID. So I did some of the California State Park volunteer paperwork. Should I try to get a hold of any of that, or just fill this all out like it's new and not even? Do you guys want any paperwork that I filled out for there or not?
It would probably be, I mean, it is the same paperwork, but I think just to do it over again is my best advice with the duty statements that are different for each area. But the database, if you created a profile on the database that I'm about to show now, and you still have your username and password, that will be the same moving forward. So if you already have a username, you can sign in here on the right side of the page, and it'll link up your profile with the Stewards one.
And Stacy, while we are very close in proximity to Annandale, they're part of a different California State Parks district. So we're in the Sonoma Mendocino Coast District. They're in the Bay Area District.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think I ever did anything in online for that. So, yep. Okay, great. I'll just do everything for this.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm in and I'm listening as I'm actually doing other things and looking at the paperwork generally as you're presenting it. My question, it just seems like it's a lot from what I'm just seeing generally right now. Is that just my interpretation, or is it really like that when I actually go in and start to fill out forms and such? Because
technically it's only 2 required forms and 2 optional forms as the main paperwork.
Okay,
it's less than it was. There was extra forms for COVID, but those are no longer needed, and the essential functions questionnaire just got thrown out, so we don't need that one anymore. So it's lessened, but it's quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we're here to help too. You know, from
hello, I just joined. Sorry for interrupting.
Welcome. Yeah, we're here to help. So at any point, reach out, ask questions. It's an government agency volunteer program, so the forms are, you know, more than would otherwise be, but we're all here to help support and guide you through that. So just ask.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Okay. Should I keep going? I'll keep going. So here is the volunteer portal to the Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods account on the database. So if you're brand new to this software, the Better Impact software, it's going to ask you to create a username and enter your email address. And it'll let you know if you need to do it, if you need to create a different one by turning red there. And then enter your email address again. You see this notification popping up at the bottom. That's just letting me know that this email address has been used before, but it's fine. And you have to click this little agree box here, and to see what you're agreeing to, it's this little agree box here. Just letting you know that there's additional paperwork. Please attend an orientation, maintain a good rapport, and adhere to the policies and requirements. Save and continue. Moving forward on these with the application form, any field with the flag is required. So there's this first page. And then I'm just going to run through it real quick. It asks for your contact information here on the first page. And at least one phone number. And your birthday. And that's it for the first page, and you click save and continue. It'll let you know if you missed something. And then this is the second page, and it's the last page. This is all you have to do to sign up on the database. The availability, not a flag, so you don't even have to fill that out if you don't feel like it. Scrolling down at the qualifications. These will link up your profile to the activity that you're interested in. So it'd be good if you're gonna do trail crew, please click that one. If you're interested in Seal Watch. But we'll double check these when you sign up on the database to make sure that you're able to see all of the activities that you're signed up for with the paperwork. So don't worry too much about it. And then scrolling down, you would just enter your emergency contact information. You see these flags here, but only one is needed. And these fields do not have flags. This one does. Have you ever served as a volunteer? You can always go back and fill these in later. There's no need to fill it in right away. And primary park. Just keep scrolling down, and then you have to agree with this little information box. Some confidential information may be asked for. And then enter a few last details here at the bottom with the flags, and then submit application. And that's it. And once you push this submit application button at the bottom, it will alert us that you have sent in your information, and we'll go in and set it up on our side, and we'll let you know when it's ready to log in and report time, which is the main function of this software. So any questions about that before I go on to the next part?
Yeah, will you remind us where to find this Better Impact page?
Yeah. So if you go to the Stewards website, stewardstr.org, there's a couple of different places, but I'll show you the one I just went to. Also, I can send it in an email. I usually, once I receive paperwork, if I see that you're not signed up yet, I'll send it in an email with the link. But if you go to the volunteer tab, volunteer opportunities, and you go down to the new onboarding packet. It's in bold. It's on this first page, volunteer portal sign up. Here. So,
My question was, once you're signed up, how do you access this portal?
oh yeah, I was about to go to that, yes.
Okay.
So you can go to www.myvolunteerpage.com to log in. It looks a little different. And then you log in with the username and password that you just created. So usually after I set up a profile in the database, I'll send an email with this information of myvolunteerpage.com and how to do the next steps, which I'm about to show. So log in.
Hey, so I'm trying to make an account, but it's telling me that I have to contact the organization before I make an account.
Oh.
For some reason it was telling me that I downloaded the app or
Oh, you're trying to do it starting with the app? I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never tried to sign up directly with the app. So maybe you need to start with a computer. I'm not sure.
all right, that's probably what I have to do because I went on Google on my phone as well and it was didn't give me like an option to create an account.
Oh, okay.
On the login it was just told me forgot my password and there wasn't any other like don't have an account sort of questions on it.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. If you, I can put my email address in the chat and we can, oh, there's a question. How do we determine if we're a long-term volunteer? Oh, I have a question in the chat. A long-term volunteer with California State Parks is somebody who volunteers 3 days or more a year. We also have short-term volunteers. So by completing the paperwork, you will be signed up as a long-term volunteer. Okay, this is what the homepage looks like on the database. And the most important thing to know is how to report time. There's a lot of functionality here, but that's really all we use it for at this point. If you click the hours tab here, then I have a few different organizations here. It won't ask you to select an organization if you only have one. You just have to select an activity from the list, which will match up with the qualifications. We'll make sure that you'll see. If you ever don't see an activity that you need to see, please reach out and we'll make sure to fix that. And then you just enter the date, the amount of time, and some activities also require brief feedback. You can really enter any comment you'd like to say about your experience that day here. And then just push save here at the bottom. And it's logged. And then if one more thing I wanted to show is if you go to the home page, there's a news section here for Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods, and that e-learning module for the required training is here. Bear in mind, just a second.
Squirrel.
Sorry about that. So if you just go to the news section and you can click this bear in mind link and it'll take you directly to the training with there's a test at the bottom that you can submit electronically and that will count as completing the training. So that's about all of that. Thank you for checking that, Lindsay. Lindsay confirmed that you do have to create the account on the computer, but moving forward, you could then log in on your cell phone.
Oh, yeah, I actually just followed the link on the chat and I was actually able to just do it on my phone.
Oh.
Yeah, it worked. Cool.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Cool.
But the page is different from when you just Google it, and the link, it gives you the option to create an account on the link, but it wasn't the same screen on the actual Google when you just look it up.
Okay. Well,
That's good to know.
You'll want You'll want to make sure to use one of our links that go directly to the steward's account, because otherwise your profile will be floating somewhere where we can't access it. Because the software is used for all kinds of volunteer programs. But we'll see. We'll see if that works. Okay. Any other questions?
I'd like to add that there's also, once you decide on a program, there's a link to a way to sign up for shifts online as well. That once you sign up for, I think I don't know if all the programs have it, but many of them have, you know, a calendar where you say, I want to work, you know, every Tuesday at whatever time. So that's a good system to have as well. And they don't communicate. So to get your credit for the hours worked, you have to get it into Amelia's Better Impact. So.
Thank you, Cassie.
I would just also reemphasize, you know, what Amelia shared. There's a lot of steps there. You know, a great first step is to get out and shadow. We can have people join us by, you know, just filling out a simple one-page signature to join for a day, to test a program out, to get connected with folks. And then when the time is right, you can fulfill the rest of the requirements for paperwork and what have you. Hours reporting, though it is important. Those things are very important for us. So yeah. Any other questions?
I guess just one last thing with the database, please don't hesitate to reach out, and don't let it frustrate you if it's not working. Just reach out to us and let us know. We can help. We also offer alternative options if you can't do it, it's okay. just tell us. We'll figure it out, you know.
We know it can be tricky, and that's what we're here for. So yeah, let us help you.
Alice, do you have anything else?
I'm all set.
Okay, well, I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and wrap this up then. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. It's really special to be part of an organization that is truly volunteer driven. The work that we get done out in the community and in our parks wouldn't happen without volunteers. So we're all enthused and energized that you showed up here with us today to learn a little bit more. And you know, collectively, the whole team is here to support you on your volunteer journey. So thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you a happy rest of your weekend, and hopefully we'll see you out sometime soon. We'll follow up with that email that has good contact info for point programs.
Yeah, thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.